Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Much Ado About Real Estate. One of these morning vlogs. This one is going to be the real estate one. The other one is called Morning Musings, and it's just on personal topics instead of real estate specific. The real estate one today, thought I would just mention the importance of thinking about invisible issues that could cost you. So, when you're purchasing a house and you have your inspection period, most people have a home inspection, general home inspection. Sometimes they add on things, termite, you know, and some other things you might want to consider are scoping the outflow system. So, whether it's PVC or cast iron, the outflow of sewage or water out of your house. You can pay for an inspection that runs a camera down through that and checks to see that the pipes have maintained their integrity, they're not cracked, broken. Roots from trees in the yard busting into that pipe is a big concern there. And the city's ownership and therefore their liability and what they have to repair is at that street level. And between that and where it enters your house is sometimes a gray area in terms of insurance and who's responsible for what. There are insurance add-ons for that section of pipe. So I advise you to, check with your insurance provider and, see if that's part of the policy that you're getting on the house to cover that section between the house and the street. And another thing would be paying attention to the attic, paying attention to the underside of the roof for leaks, electrical issues in the wall, if outlets aren't working and things like that, making sure that it's a smaller issue. So as a real estate agent, I can't tell people do this, right? I can't say like, you need a XYZ. I say we have, our experience in the past has been, etc., or I personally do XYZ. So let me say, I, on everything I buy, have the outflow scoped. I don't care if there's not a tree in the yard in sight, if it's, a nice slope away from the house at a good grade, and there's no trees in sight, I still have it scoped. Always. Because, when I'm walking through a house, I grew up doing construction work and being around real estate between my mother and my father. And I know what I'm looking at when I'm walking through a house, right? I know how much something's going to cost. I know if a foundation deviation is a real issue or not. I can tell if joists are weak. I know what moisture damage looks like in the crawl space. I know a little bit about what pest damage looks like between like carpenter ants versus termites, roof stuff. Like, I know the stuff, but there are things you can't see. Outflow pipes is one of them, and that can be, we've seen $27,000 to $40,000 repair costs for those to dig all the pipe up and replace it. So just think about, expenses that you can't see, because you might walk through the house and say, yeah, there's issues with this house, but I can handle all of them. But there might be ones that you can't see that you either can't handle or wouldn't be worth it to you to handle. So that's a little tip on that. General home inspection. Oh, another thing. General home inspectors cannot move personal property, right? So if there are problem areas, sometimes homeowners will put things in front of those areas. Yeah. So if an inspector can't move personal property, then they can't put it in the report. So something to think about. Try to make sure you can see, make every part of the home available for inspection when you're on the buyer side. Yeah, and there's clauses in the contract that it's on buyers' due diligence to do their own inspections and, base it on that. So you're not going to be able to say, well, I didn't know about this in here because the home inspector couldn't see it. because the home inspector didn't put it on the report. But that was on you as the buyer side to make sure that you saw everything. So just, yeah, make sure you do that. Well, on everything I buy, I do that, is what I meant to say. All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good day. Bye.